education in order to be competitive in this global economy. So we have to establish a partnership between businesses and education and the government for apprenticeship programs in every state in this country to give our people the skills they need. Lifelong learning must benefit not just young high school graduates, but workers too throughout their career. The average 18-year-old today will change jobs 7 times in a lifetime. We have done a lot in this country on worker training in the last few years, but the system is too fractured. We must develop a unified, simplified, sensible, streamlined worker training program so that workers receive the training they need, regardless of why they lost their jobs or whether they simply need to learn something new to keep them. We have got to do better on that. Finally, I proposed a program that got a great response from the American people all across this country last year. A program of national service to make college loans available to all Americans and to challenge them at the same time to give something back to their country as teachers or police officers or community service workers, to give them the option to pay the loans back, but at tax time so they can't beat the bill, but to encourage them instead to pay it back by making their country stronger and making their country better and giving us the benefit of their time.
All these other fucking people in the back there. Yeah. Like the whole crowd.
A generation ago, when President Kennedy proposed that the United States Congress embrace the Peace Corps, it defined the character of a whole generation of Americans committed to serving people around the world. In this national service program, we will provide more than twice as many slots for people before they go to college to be in national service than ever served in the Peace Corps. This program could do for this generation of members of Congress what the Land Grant College Act did and what the GI Bill did for former congressmen. In the future, historians who got their education through the National Service Loan will look back on you and thank you for giving America a new lease on life if you meet this challenge. If we believe in jobs and we believe in learning, we must believe in rewarding work. If we believe in restoring the values that make America special, we must believe that there is dignity in all work and there must be dignity for all workers. To those who care for our sick, who tend our children, who do our most difficult and tiring jobs, the new direction I propose will make this solemn, simple commitment. By expanding the refundable earned income tax credit, we will make history. We will reward the work of millions of working poor Americans by realizing the principle that if you work 40 hours a week and you've got a child in the house, you will no longer be in poverty. Later this year, we will offer a plan to end welfare as we know it. I have worked on this issue for the better part of a decade. And I know from personal conversations with many people that no one wants to change the welfare system as badly as those who are trapped in it. I want to offer the people on welfare the education, the training, the child care, the health care they need to get back on their feet. But say after 2 years, they must get back to work too, in private business if possible, in public service if necessary. We have to end welfare as a way of life and make it a path to our next great goal should be to strengthen our families. I compliment the Congress for passing the Family and Medical Leave Act as a good first step. But it is time to do more. This plan will give this country the toughest child support enforcement system it has ever had. It is time to demand that people take responsibility for the children they bring into this world.
This kid knows who he's talking to. Yeah.
And I ask you to help to protect our families against the violent crime which terrorizes our people and which tears our communities apart. We must pass a tough crime bill. I support not only the bill which didn't quite make it to the president's desk last year, but also an initiative to put 100,000 more police officers on the street. To provide boot camps for first-time nonviolent offenders, for more space for the hardened criminals in jail. And I support an initiative to do what we can to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Let me say this. I will make you this bargain. If you'll pass the Brady bill, I'll sure sign it.
Oh, fucking asshole.
Brady's with what's his name, right?
Secretary.
Reagan, right? One of those sharks are calling for Reagan.
Pete, you know what that means? They're gonna take my
Let
gun
me
away.
say now,
My little 22?
Because they don't want normal.
we should move to the harder part.
They're gonna take it away.
They want us to do away with handguns.
Yeah, but
I
fucking
think-
the criminal on the street will still have his.
It is clear to every American, including every member of Congress of both parties, that the confidence of the people who pay our bills in our institutions in Washington is not high. We must restore it. We must begin again to make government work for ordinary taxpayers, not simply for organized interest groups. And that beginning must start with real political reform. I am asking the United States Congress to pass a real campaign finance reform bill this year. I ask you to increase the participation of the American people by passing the motor voter bill promptly. I ask you to deal with the undue influence of special interests by passing a bill to end the tax deduction for lobbying and to act quickly to require all the people who lobby you to register as lobbyists by passing the lobbying registration bill. Believe me, They were cheering that last section at home. I believe lobby reform and campaign finance reform are a sure path to increased popularity for Republicans and Democrats alike, because it says to the voters back home, this is your House, this is your Senate, we're your hired hands, and every penny we draw is your money. Next, to revolutionize government, we have to ensure that we live within our means, and that should start at the top and with the White House. In the last few days, I have announced a cut in the White House staff of 25%, saving approximately $10 million. I have ordered administrative cuts in budgets of agencies and departments. I have cut the federal bureaucracy, or will over the next 4 years, by approximately 100,000 positions, for a combined savings of $9 billion. It is time for government to demonstrate, in the condition we're in, that we can be as frugal as any household in America. And that's why I also want to congratulate the Congress. I noticed the announcement of the leadership today that Congress is taking similar steps to cut its costs. I think that is important. I think it will send a very clear signal to the American people. But if we really want to cut spending, we're going to have to do more. And some of it will be difficult. Tonight I call for an across-the-board freeze in federal government salaries for 1 year. And thereafter, during this 4-year period, I recommend that salaries rise at 1 point lower than the cost of living allowance normally involved in federal pay increases. Next, I recommend that we make 150 specific budget cuts, as you know, and that all those who say we should cut more be as specific as I have been.
I think we have seen anything about church stuff.
Well,
Approaching that.
Finally, let me
I
say
want to call again.
to my friends
You
on
don't
both
want
sides of the
any
aisle, it is not enough
When am I going to get an egg?
simply to cut
Yeah.
government. We have to rethink the
You
whole
gonna
way
have an
it works.
You going to have to?
What?
When I became
Buddies? You want
president, I was
buddies?
amazed at just the way the White House worked in ways that added lots of money to what taxpayers had to pay, outmoded ways that didn't take maximum advantage of technology and didn't do things that any business would have done years ago to save taxpayers money. So I want to bring a new spirit of innovation into every government department. I want to push education reform, as I said, not just to spend more money, but to really improve learning. Some things work and some things don't. We ought to be subsidizing the things that work and discouraging the things that don't. I'd like to use that super fund to clean up pollution for a change and not just pay lawyers.
Now look at this guy. He's the House of Republican leader, and he's cheering the hell out of us. That's what I mean.
In the aftermath of all the difficulties with the savings and loans, we must use federal bank regulators to protect the security and safety